views and opinions of the station, its management, or its advertisers. Now, let's get ready to focus on our issues, our solutions, using our voices on Black Focus Radio.
Welcome to Black Focus, the show designed with our community in mind, where we focus on our...
Now remember, when the news starts playing, you need to make sure that you go up and turn off, to go to manual.
Black Focus starts right now. Phone lines open at 855-525-56.
You have to wait till it starts playing.
Here's your host, David W. Coleman and Robert Webb.
Just go ahead and, you can go ahead and hit the fade on that. Now hit manual. Turn up the volume just a little bit. There you go.
Today's headlines: Trump's approval rating is higher as president. These teams versus a matchup.
You run the bed, exactly.
Billionaire Jeffrey Epstein has been indicted for running a sex trafficking ring with girls as young as 14 years old. A festival in Detroit gives backlash for charging white people $20, charging black people $10. That's today's Black Focus Headline News. Now let's get focused with more Black Focus Radio.
Tell you what, I'm going to use this one. Mic 2. Turn it off, leave it off. Now, when I start talking, you need to slowly fade that down on the board, okay? All right, you can turn it on. All right. Welcome to Black Focus Radio. Okay, hit the program button on my mic. Welcome to Black Focus Radio. Our issues, our solutions, our voices. The Monday edition, 855-525-5683 is the number. That's how you get in touch with us. If you want to join the show, right now I am sitting in a different position. Today in the captain's chair. She's guiding us through the galaxy like she's being Captain Kirk. I guess since she's a woman, she's Captain Janeway. We've got Jemiah Ivy. She's on the wheels of steel, kicking back like a fat rat, old school style. She is going to give us the well, at least she's running the board and taking care of everything for me today. Clayton will do it in the next hour. And eventually I'm going to have them immersed in doing everything for the station. But very proud of them. They are quick learners, as our young people are. And I enjoy doing the things that I do with them and for them, because I often tell people that I'm going to live forever. And this is how I live forever, is because hopefully some tidbit of knowledge that I drop on them, it will translate to the future, and they'll drop that knowledge on somebody, and then that person will drop that knowledge on somebody else, and consequently I live forever. That's pretty cool, I think. So I want to appreciate everybody joining me. Yes, I was out. I took a long sabbatical, and as you all know, I don't celebrate the 4th of July, have not in quite some time, but certainly had some time to go out and spend some time with some people. I went to Kansas City, Missouri, and Kansas, by the way, and enjoyed it. It wasn't a bad trip at all. As a matter of fact, you all know I lived in Nashville, Tennessee. Nashville is about 5.5 hours from here. Kansas City, Missouri was 6. So it was a quick trip. I really enjoyed it. Got to eat some Gates barbecue. Of course, it is the Mecca of Kansas City. That's where most people go, although people now say, I don't really like Gates no more. Well, I enjoyed it. It was very good, although it wasn't as good as mine. Now, I'm not trying to brag, but that's just a fact, Jack. It wasn't as good as mine, but it was pretty good either way. And I actually brought some barbecue sauce back from Gates. Not too many bottles, but I bought 6 bottles. I brought some back for some friends who wanted to try the Gates. And so enjoyed that a lot. Also went to the Negro League Baseball Museum. Now, I didn't wear my hat today, but I bought a hat and I'll wear it. I'll sport it tomorrow for the Birmingham Black Barons. And had a wonderful time at each time that I do when I go to Kansas City. This is my second trip to Kansas City. And each time I've been, it's been fun. It's been exciting. And, of course, they've got the Jazz Museum right there on 18th and Vine. Those of you who don't know it, 18th and Vine is where all of it began. Okay? In other words, jazz, if you are a jazz enthusiast, the way I am, of course, I love jazz music. The only time I've ever spun records in the radio business was when I was doing jazz. Okay? So had a great time there. Of course, when we were leaving, they were getting ready to have a jam session on 18th and Vine. They were already rocking. So we missed that, but we did a lot of other things. Got to see my nephew. I see all you old women done like the picture of him. I'm hoping y'all liking the picture of me and not my nephew. All right? Because I'll fight you over my nephew. I'm just letting you know. All right? So so don't be getting the Google eyes at my nephew. I'm just letting you know. Homie, don't play that. But I hadn't seen him in almost 2 years. So it was good to see him as well. So that was pretty cool. And then we just kind of toured Kansas City. It's an interesting city, to say the least. Now, we've got a lot of other stuff to talk about today. Of course, we got to do Black Facts here in just a moment. So we'll get into that. Let me. What Black Fact do I want? Because there are so many. Okay, there are so many to do. Let me scroll down here and check it out, because there are just so many to do. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And, okay. Why don't we just do this one? So let's go ahead and hit that Black Fact sounder. You got to turn up the pot on the automation and go for it. All right, so our Black Fact today. Well, this Black Fact is about Mami Wata. Who? This Black Fact is about Mami Wata. Y'all know who Mami Wata is, don't you? Well, Mami Wata, the most celebrated mermaid-like deity from Africa who crossed over to the West. Oh no, you gotta be kidding! You mean there were mermaids in Africa? Well, yes, there were. Let me read this to you. And you all will get an idea. If you've read the teas, you know why I'm doing this. Despite being considered an adaptation of Western mermaid, Mami Wata is a deity that has existed in Africa for as long as African history and culture can recollect. The half-fish, half-human female water spirit is highly respected, feared, and worshipped, presenting a balance between dark, divine, mysterious, and angelic existence. The deity is believed to be a woman with a half-human and half-fish appearance, with the ability to transform wholly into any form of her choice. The deity could also take up the form of half-human, half-snake. Her upper body is that of a woman, while her lower body is a fish with a tail. Mami Wata is often presented with long, healthy hair, enviable beauty, and a dark yet appealing mysteriousness. Her human features appear similar to that of the women in the areas in which she lives. Mami Wata traces back to the earliest of African societies as recorded by the griots and keepers of history. The Dogon's creation myth tells the stories of Mami Wata and traces records of its existence to more than 4,000 years ago. Mesopotamian myths also tell of the great water goddess in their story of creation known as Mami Aruri, to be the creator of life. The name is traced to the early language of the modern African societies today. The first root of its name is considered to be from Ethiopian and Egyptian Coptic societies. In the Ethiopian Coptic language, the word mama was used as a description of truth and wisdom, and the term uarter meant water. Let me stop real quick. So did y'all know the name mama was used for truth and wisdom? Another definition of the name traces to the early Sudanese society where the word wata referred to a woman. The name is often linked to a single entity, but represents the strongest and most significant of all water spirits that exist. Mami Wata was developed from the African culture that believed in the existence and worship of mystical creatures. Mami Wata is the bigger goddess with smaller followers, some of which were also men and had the same appearance as their goddess. Stories are told of her followers coming to shore every now and then to deceive seamen and capture them to be taken into the water kingdom. Where have we heard that before? The captives were a source of entertainment until they were offered as sacrifices to her. In West Africa and some parts of East Africa, the deity is called Mame Wata. Modern African societies refer to as Mami Wata. In some parts of Eastern Africa, among the Swahili-speaking groups, she's called Mamba Munti. The African deity has managed to find homes in many societies in the Western world. In the Caribbean and parts of the Southern America, the deity is highly respected and feared with many stories around her identity. Many cultures till this date worship the deity and train high priestesses who serve as links between the people and their deity. The role of the strikingly beautiful goddess is to provide spiritual and material healing for her worshipers, while also protecting their emotional and mental health and growth. She is a protector of the water bodies. Many traditional groups in Africa till today do not go to the beach or fish on certain days in order to provide peace to the water deity's home. For women, she is a giver of fertility, the protector of women and children. Mami Wata has a soft spot for women who have suffered abuse. The deity is also a provider of wealth and riches to her loyal worshipers and admirers, and blesses children with beauty. Oftentimes, the beauty is said to be a destructive tool to the girls. But the deity possesses evil as much as she possesses good. Many men have been said to be captured by the deity for her own sexual satisfaction. Sometimes the men are often left lifeless or buried by the living, or their bodies are never found. Women who are not humble because they have been blessed with beauty are often left barren and without a man until they compensate the deity. Mami Wata also is very strong has very strong sexual powers and sex starvation, seduction, and lust. In the Nigerian tradition, Mami Wata seduces men and reveals herself to him after sexual intimacy. The man is also to swear faithfulness to the deity or die. Any man that rejected her offer is said to suffer sudden death, poverty, and destruction of his family if he is married. The deity is also known to have a terrible temper and jealousy issues, which often lead to the death of many. For many Africans who found themselves in the Western world, specifically in the Caribbean, the Southern America, the deity is said to have traveled with them on the Atlantic Ocean, protecting and taking some of their pain to relieve them. She is said to have capsized many slave ships that do not make it their Western destinations, especially during the abolition of the slave trade. She emerged as human many times to the slaves, often as a beautiful girl who dies at a very young age. This was her way of protecting her people who were no longer close to bodies of water. By appearing in human form in between decades, she reminded the slaves that she had not forgotten them. For many African communities in areas like the Dominican Republic, Haiti, and Brazil, she emerged to the people as La Sirène. Mami Wata appears in many children's stories as a mythical character who often brings good and bad luck depending on the character. Many are warned to resist the seductive charms of the deity, believe that if one can resist Mami Wata, they can live long and endure life's obstacles. Mami Wata found her way into Western societies about the 15th centuries when the sailors who mixed with indigenous Africans and slaves found their way into their lands. In Western culture, she is referred to as a mermaid. Wait a minute. In Western cultures, Mami Wata is referred to as a mermaid. Wait a minute. Y'all playing with me. Mami Wata in Western cultures, that would mean America, is referred to as a mermaid with beautiful features. Today, many Western scholars believe that Mami Wata is a pigeon adaptation of the word mermaid adopted by African societies. And that's our Black Fact for today. Hit that close on Black Facts. Turn it up. All right, and if you want to sponsor Dynamic Black Facts, you can call me up at 615-554-0568, and we can do that thing, okay? So we've got a great advertising package. We can hook you up, talk to you about some things that are going on here in Joint Ed Radio. But in the meantime, hey, just come on out and sponsor. Okay. So let me read the teas. There, by now you ought to know there's a reason why I decided to choose that Black Fact. And by the way, I want to thank the nation of Ghana who provided that information for us. I went out to their site to get that information. So over the weekend, it's been kind of fascinating. You know, I am not surprised at the racism that white people have. I'm just not. I ain't trying to make you mad, but I've read enough history now that I understand why white people are racist. I think about it from this perspective. Imagine going into Africa, you thinking that you are, the Ace Boone Coon, y'all Billy Badass, y'all think y'all run everything. And imagine going into Africa and realizing when you spread, and I can just imagine seeing them walking through all that brush, all that overgrowth, those beautiful forests, avoiding those lions and tigers and bears, those anacondas, those elephants, and everything else, And then they stumble upon the pyramids and they like, oh my God, somebody has been here already and it ain't us. And then when you see the people, they don't look like you. And those people are running around with loincloths on. Now, how the hell do people with loincloths build pyramids? They couldn't have did that. The aliens did that, right? Yeah, the aliens did that. So from that point to today, white people have purposely tried to diffuse or debunk or simply erase history the way it was and replace it with their history. Now, with the invention of the internet, they're not quite able to do that anymore. And they're frustrated. They're angry. They're doing all of that stuff in order to debunk what happened in Africa. So here we are today, now with the invention of the interweb, as I like to call it, that all of a sudden, all of that knowledge that white people tried to hide from black people is now front and center. It cannot be hidden anymore. And people are beginning to realize, even those who are reluctant, they are beginning to realize that somebody been lying to us. Y'all remember how you first felt when you really was passionate about something and you realized that somebody was lying to you? Think about the first time your girlfriend lied to you or your significant other. Y'all remember that? It's frustrating, wasn't it? I know. It really is. It's the same with white folks today. They're frustrated because now all of a sudden they realize the lies that are being told. And it ain't pretty for them. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. They done told us a lie. And now, yeah, they did. Your own people lied to you. See, we didn't lie to you. Your own people lied to you to make you feel good. So why am I bringing this up? And by the way, here's the tease for today. How did a cartoon character reveal more deep-seated racism on the part of white people? We also discuss why prayer in school is not an option, and a local police hero may have been a sexual exploiter. So let's work backwards, because I want to get to this Little Mermaid thing. And from this point on, I need you all to go out to my wall, and the article that I just read about Mommy Wata, the original Black Mermaid, you all need to post that. Because mermaids actually came from Africa. Hello? They were called Mommy Watas. The word mermaid was an American adaptation. Okay? It wasn't written by Hans Christian Andersen. In fact, he borrowed the story from Africa. So I need y'all to go out and post that page. Okay? But the first story I want to deal with today is about something that broke over the weekend. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. What a man does is his business. But when it comes to exploitation, I got a problem with that. And I'm going to tell you who I'm talking about. Okay? Because Officer Tommy Norman, who has got national acclaim, who everybody thought he was the fashizzle, apparently he ain't what he cracked up to be. Now, why am I bringing that up? Well, when I first moved to Little Rock, everybody always talked to me about Officer Tommy Norman. People told me about him. You know, and as I kind of began to follow his story, something just didn't sit right with me. something didn't sit right with me. Here was a police officer. Here was a police officer who seemed to glory in being in the black community. See, here's my thing. See, I have a problem with white police officers using black people as props. You know what I'm saying? I got a problem with that because, see, I know the majority of white police officers out there don't give a damn about black people or black children. Hello? Well, if they did, they wouldn't be shooting them down in the street the way we're watching. Right? I think y'all can agree with me on that. So when Officer Tommy Norman was introduced to me, not personally, but his story, and I began to follow his story, I told a friend then, man, something's wrong with that. I don't trust that. Something just ain't making sense. Something's not making sense with that. So I let it go. I didn't, maybe he was a good guy. But what I was concerned about is that Officer Tommy Norman was using the black community for his own personal gain. I'm going to tell you what my concerns were. My concerns were that he was manipulating the people in the areas that he was going to. Poor black people, underprivileged black kids. I just didn't feel good about that. I'm being real with you. This was before I even knew him. It didn't really make sense to me. Well, the reason I'm talking about this because apparently Officer Tommy Norman has been exposed as a charlatan. Apparently, he has multiple kids, which ain't nothing wrong with that. But multiple kids from different women. Some of those kids, which he allegedly don't even claim. There are stories out there that he has other children by some black women. So my question to you, was Officer Tommy Norman simply in the black community so he could sexually exploit black women? Now, understand that he recently married a black woman. Now, the reason I'm saying this is because apparently a text message was released over the weekend with Officer Tommy Norman. And it explicitly details him having a relationship with another woman while he's engaged. And the text message that I read even suggested that their escapades, their sexual escapades, take place down at Riverside Park. And sometimes it happens in North Little Rock police cars. And apparently this woman whom he was engaging with this banter was suggesting that not only did she want him, she wanted his wife as well. Now, what you do behind closed doors is your business. If you want to swing on chandeliers and jump off, I don't care. But when it comes to exploitation of my community, then I have a problem with that. And if what was released over the weekend and what continues to be released, then Officer Norman is a charlatan at least, an exploiter at some level, and no telling what else he's done. Now, the only reason this could have happened is because black people weren't paying attention. The only reason that this could have happened is because black people were not paying attention. I've told you all over and over again, just because someone smiles at you doesn't mean they're your friend. I tell my kids that all the time. Just because a woman runs up to you and asks you for your phone number Don't mean she your friend. I've even told you that all skin folk ain't your kinfolk. That means just because they black don't mean that they gonna be for black people. Now, I don't know what's gonna come out of this, but this is ugly. Now, let me address some of the people, some of the black folks who were trying to defend Officer Tommy Norman. Because I read through a lot of those posts, and a lot of those posts suggested, one, I remember a black guy saying, man, he's a man. Y'all leave him alone. He gonna do what he gonna do. A man gonna do what he gonna do. That's his business. No, it's not. Not when you're exploiting women, and not when you're exploiting women that you know you can take advantage of, which were poor women. Now, if that's the type of brother you are, then I feel sorry for you. I hope to God that none of my children meet you, when in fact I know they won't. But you all defending this guy because he was a charlatan? Because he was apparently, for lack of a better term, a hoe. You know, and this was happening in our community. And many of you all defended this guy. Many of y'all were carrying water for this guy. And now that this is coming out, I'm appalled that so many black people are trying to defend this guy. Because clearly something is going on. I'm going to tell you like this. You know what really bothers me more than, look, if he want to sleep with every black woman in Little Rock, that's fine. That's his business. But when you start impregnating them and having children and you don't want to claim these children, I got a problem with that. I got a problem with that. And then apparently he had children by another relationship and didn't want them to come to his wedding. I'm going to tell you like this, sisters. If you've got a relationship with a man, and that man does not have a relationship with his children, you need to run as fast and as far away from him as you can. Let me say that again. If there's a man that you claim to love, and that man claims to love you, but he does not love his children. Now, I understand there are issues and situations where some men can't be part of their children's lives. There are some terrible mothers out there who do that. But if that guy ain't fighting to try to see his children, that's a problem. I'm going to tell you like this, men. If you meet a woman and she has babies by another man, and she treats that man like crap when he's trying to see his children, you need to run as far. You and the woman, that other sister, y'all need to be running as fast as y'all can together, away from them. Okay? Because most women that I know who have had children by men who are in other relations, they want those children to be part of that man's life. So if Officer Tommy Norman has children who he don't want at his wedding, who he doesn't even acknowledge, Officer Tommy Norman is a piece of elephant dung. And any other man who does that. That's just how I feel about that. But the important question is that we in black community, we are so desperate for a savior that we're willing to let anybody come into our community and claim that they're saviors, and then they do nothing but exploit us. They do nothing but abuse our trust. And, I know that's traditional. That's how the white people were able to conquer Africa. See, this is why I laugh at white people. See, they're so afraid of 2042. They believe that what's going to happen in 2042 is that black people or minorities, once they become majorities, they're going to treat white people the same as white people have treated minorities. Now, if it were me and I had my druthers, I'd say, yeah, get them. They deserve it. But see, the African nature is not that way. So when the Dutch and all those people, the French and the Italians, first came into Africa, what did the African people do? They embraced them. They said, welcome, you are home. Not knowing that those people were there to exploit, to rape and impregnate those young girls, to sell those young girls and young men into slavery. They had no idea, because Africans were so welcoming and forgiving, they allowed their continent to be plundered. And that same nature, that same DNA still lives in us today. Let me give you another example. You know, when the gay community really started, before it became public knowledge, quite often many people in the black community were welcoming gay people long before then. Let me give you another example. When the black son would go off and marry the white girl, and the white girl would be ostracized from her own family, or the white male who would marry a black girl would be ostracized from his white family, that black family would always open their arms and welcome him to the family. Our gift, some would say our downfall, I call it a gift. Our gift in loving people of all races has been in our DNA for centuries. So I understand why some of you all welcomed Officer Tommy Norman. But what I want you all to see now is the real Officer Tommy Norman. And apparently, Officer Norman is a piece of elephant dung. Now, I'm not saying anything that I think I know. I read those texts for myself. Hello? Let me say that again. I read those texts for myself. And the few texts that I read, I was appalled. And then it made me hearken back. I've been now in Little Rock, I've been back for 4 years. And when I saw that story, and I believe that I saw that story prior to even me moving back, because I was coming and staying with my brother, and that story was made aware to me. And I said then that something is just not right with that. In fact, if I could get him on the phone right now, he would tell you we've had this conversation about that guy. He and I. See, it's kind of like that old saying, game knows game. Okay? See, let me hip you to what I mean by that. You know, part of the reason a lot of black men don't go to church is because a lot of black men look at a preacher as gaming. And particularly a lot of black men, they have played the game. So they're not going to let a preacher game them. That's just one example. That old saying, it's a drug dealer can peep out another drug dealer. A prostitute can peep out another prostitute. A drug addict can look at another drug addict and know that they're using. So can an alcoholic. An alcoholic can look at another alcoholic and know he's an alcoholic. In other words, game knows game. And there was just something about that situation that bothered me. So it's going to be interesting to see how this continues to play out. What's going to concern me more than anything, started low and then bring it up, is the fact that the bed. What's going to concern me more than anything is that black people are going to defend this guy. Keep it right there. They're gonna continue to defend this guy. They're gonna think, hey, oh, he done so much good to the black community. Why y'all picking on Officer Norman? Well, based on the information that I saw this weekend, and apparently there's more information coming out, this guy, if he's not a predator, he's certainly he's an exploiter. Stop sending your children to take pictures with white police officers. Will y'all stop doing that? We got to take a quick break. I know. I started off. I came back. Y'all already mad at me. I don't care. Go out. Look, let me do this before we do that. Go out to Russ Raycop's page and look at it for yourself. This is not somebody who wrote it. These are words from Officer Tommy Norman getting ready to have a tryst with a young lady down on under the I-30 bridge. And he's engaged. Now, I know what you might say. Men do this all the time. But here's a man who is designed, or at least supposedly for the trust of the community. And what he's done when it stops, play it started again. What he's done is taking the trust of a black community and he's using it for his sexual conquest. That's what it looks like to me. I don't know what it looks like to you. We got to take a break. We'll be back in a moment. You're listening to Black Focus Radio. I'm Dynamic Dave. By the way, you can call me up at 855-525-5683 if you disagree. But you should be concerned. Back in a moment. Kill my mic. Soon as I stop talking, kill that mic. All right? Let it play for 10 seconds. You need to toggle to the stop set. And you can play it and hit it anytime. 2 through 5.
The law offices of James F. Swindle.
Fade the other one. No. Fade it on up. There you go. Not there. Go over to the left, Far left. Yeah.
Hundreds of cases to verdict in state and
There you
federal
go.
court and recovered millions for our clients. If you or a loved one have been injured or have property wrongfully damaged, we may be able to help. Do not hesitate to contact our firm anytime for a free attorney consultation. Call 1-800-848-1290. That's 1-800-848-1290. Or email inquiries at arkansas-personal-injury.com. Our law offices are centrally located at 212 Center Street in Little Rock. That's the law offices of James F. Swindoll, personal injury and products liability attorney serving Arkansas since 1977.
Mitchell Funeral Home welcomes all of Arkadelphia and Arkansas to connect with a family-owned and operated service provider in Clark County since 1966. At Mitchell Funeral Home, they understand that the funeral is a celebration of life and legacy, so the entire staff takes great pride in the caring, personal, and professional services they provide. Cremations, funeral planning, burial policy, life insurance, notary, and monument sales are just a few of the services they offer. Flexible packages are available as well. Mitchell Funeral Home appreciates the trust and confidence placed in them and will continue to enhance their services so as to serve you better. Call now. Get connected. 870-246-2611. That's 870-246-2611. Call, click, or come by. MitchellFuneralServices.com. Don't wait till we're needed. Call us now. Let's walk through this together. 870-246-2611. It's quality you can appreciate and service you can depend on at Mitchell Funeral Home.
Hi, this is Alvin from
You need to pay attention. So now you need to go ahead and toggle back to my wall, and once the music starts playing, once the spot is done, you need to hit the bed again. Once the bed starts playing, let it play for 5 seconds. Hit my mic, point at me, let me know the mic's ready, and I can get going.
LeBron James is the greatest player we've seen this generation. You have to be careful when you start saying And so when he went to get his mic, or he went to get his mask, every generation you get that. You begin to sound like that old man that lives down the street, and every time you walk on his yard, and you walk by his yard, he's on the porch, and he got that little crooked finger, he says, "Get off my lawn! Get off my lawn!"
Join the weekly sports magazine every Saturday, 8 to 10 a.m. on JordanRadio.com.
Get off my lawn!
Did you point at me? You like? Welcome back to the show. It's Black Focus Radio. I feel really weird today because I'm used to hitting buttons and everything, and I've got Jemiah, who is running the board today. She's doing a fantastic job. And Clayton will run the next hour, and eventually they'll be running my whole show. I'm not used to sitting over here on this side of the board, so I can actually do research in the break. And by the way, those of you who are listening to the show via YouTube or Facebook Live, and let me jump on out here and post this YouTube because I'm proud of my new background. But those of you who are listening to YouTube or Facebook Live, you hear me talking and giving directions. I'm actually talking to Jemiah as she runs the show, so she'll know what to do. Because JC already done told me that if they can't run the show right, I might be in trouble. A teeny. Y'all know where that's from?
Oh, that's from Wizards of Oz.
The Wiz, exactly. I'm gonna say y'all ain't watched The Wiz. I'm gonna take y'all black card. That was Nipsey Russell. Now, who do y'all know that has a name similar to that?
Hustle.
Nipsey Hussle, right? You think he borrowed that name from Nipsey Russell?
Yep.
Yeah, he did. Okay, but anyway, so Jemiah is running. She's running the board, and she's doing a good job as well. So, last hour I was talking a little bit about Officer Tommy Norman, and again, I'm not trying to throw rain on his parade. Look, if you are a Casanova, that's a nice word for a hoe. And you running your business, hey, I ain't trying to hate on your business. But when you become exploitive, and when you begin to exploit the black community, which I believe that he was doing then and is doing now, then I got a problem with that. And it amazes me that, here's the thing, and this is what really kind of annoys me about it. Had that been a black man doing that, y'all would have been all over him already. Y'all would have been all over him already, wouldn't you? Y'all know I'm telling the truth. Y'all know I'm telling the truth. So how is it that y'all allowed this guy for years to matriculate in and out the black community, apparently use black women for his sexual conquest, impregnate some of them, and y'all don't even call him out? Really? See, because if that would have been a black man, y'all would have been all over him. Y'all would have been talking about him, how dirty he is and everything else. So, I don't understand that. But I'm hoping the truth will come out here real soon. I'm hoping that you all will learn a lesson. I'm sorry, but the police department don't have our best interest at heart. Now, there are some individuals in the police department that may. In fact, I know there are. But the institution, well, what was it? Why was it created? It was created to catch slaves. (855-525-4950). 5683 is the number. Next hour, we're going to jump into this Little Mermaid thing. I missed something last week that I gotta ask a question about. Let me ask you, because I got two young people in the studio. How many of y'all, which one of y'all have ever did one of the Facebook challenges? Have y'all ever did one?
Maybe.
Which one did you do, Jemima?
Right. What you mean by Facebook?
You know, like the planks, they used to plank. There were some where they did the cold water, they poured
Ice bucket.
the ice bucket.
I did the cinnamon challenge.
The what?
The cinnamon challenge.
What's the cinnamon challenge?
You get a spoonful of cinnamon, you put it in your mouth and see how long you can keep it in your mouth, basically, without spitting it out.
How long did you go?
Wasn't that long? I don't remember. That was a couple years ago.
Oh, okay. You know you could have choked yourself and killed yourself, right? You didn't know because you was a young person, right? And young people do crazy things, right? I know. I did some crazy things when I was a young person, but some of these challenges are ridiculous. I remember the one where they would set themselves on fire. That was kind of stupid. The one where they would be driving a car and get out of the car and be dancing while the car is moving. One guy got ran over. I bring all of this up because the latest one is people going into stores, opening up ice cream and licking it. Now, let me just say this. That is one of the most disgusting and pathetic things that you could ever do. Because think about it from this perspective. Go to a fast food place. Let's say you order an ice cream cone and before you get it, the person who makes it licks it. Would you want it? Hell no, you wouldn't. You'd be raising all kinds of hell. So why would you go into a grocery store? And it started with a young lady a couple of weeks ago. Goes into a local grocery store, opens up the ice cream and licks it, puts it back in. Now we've been seeing more and more of this, and this is one of these Facebook challenges. Well, what you don't realize, that's called product tampering. It faces a 20-year sentence and a $10,000 fine. You know where that came from right now? You all may not be old enough, but my age remembers the Tylenol scare, where people were opening up. It used to be that these little plastic coverings and all these protective things that they put on products to keep you from opening them. It didn't used to be that way. You could go into a store and open up a jar. Yeah, you could. But somebody about 30 years ago decided to put poison in Tylenol, ended up killing a couple of people, and all of that changed today. So, and I'm real sensitive about this because I have a product. I have to spend extra money on my product to make sure it's sealed properly, to make sure that you can't open it, and if it's open, then people can look at it and know it and they won't buy it. So for these people to go into these stores and to be tampering with this product, I think it's disgusting, and I hate to say the young lady, they say the young lady was 17 years old. You need to go to jail. Some things you don't get a second chance. And the argument is that if you wouldn't want anyone to do that to you or your food, why would you do it to someone else's? I remember going into and this was a while back, I want to say it was a McDonald's, but I don't remember. I think it was. I was in Nashville. And I don't eat at McDonald's a lot. But that day I was on the run, and the lady served me some nasty looking fries. I was going to sit down and eat. She pushed the tray up to me, and I just looked at her. She said, "Sir, here's your food." I said, "No, that's not my food." And she looked at me again, and I said, let me ask you a question, young lady. I said, look at that right there. I said, would you eat that? She said, no, I wouldn't. I said, so why the hell did you bring that to me for me to eat? Then she got an attitude with me and called the manager on me. And then I asked the manager the same thing. I said, ma'am, would you eat that? She said, no, sir, I wouldn't. I said, so why are you serving it? My point being is that if you don't want people, if you wouldn't allow someone to lick your ice cream, then you don't have the right to do that to anyone else. I also saw a guy, this was a white guy, who went into apparently a drugstore, opened up the Listerine, poured some in his mouth, drank out of the bottle, gargled with it, and spat it back in the Listerine. Man, y'all are some disgusting people out there, man. Y'all are just nasty. I don't understand how that works. I don't understand how you could be that despicable. So I'm hoping, and by the way, there was a black guy. Now, this was a black guy somewhere. He was 36 years old. He did it. I saw this over the weekend. He did it. He's 36. His name is Lanice Martin III, 36. Posted a video of him licking a tub of ice cream in Louisiana. Now, how do we know this guy? Because the police has found his butt. You 36, man. I could almost give the teenage girl a pass. No, I can't. But dude, you 36. Let me say that again. Dude, you are a grown-ass man. Now, I know young people do imprudent things. I know they do impulsive things. I know they do things and they say, and you look at them, why the hell you do that? And they say, I don't know. Because they young folks. You did it too. There were things I did that was stupid. Thank God they didn't have social media back in that day. Oh, God. Lips are sealed. I will never tell. But that 36-year-old man in Louisiana, the reason I know you're 36 and because I know your name, because you've been busted. And you're going to spend some time in jail, folks. You thought that was cute? You're going to realize that this is one of those Facebook challenges that you don't want to deal with. At the 58, you need to start my bed. This is one of those challenges you don't want to do. But y'all go ahead. Y'all go ahead. Y'all just keep doing stupid stuff. All right. All right, so when we come back, we're going to get into this Little Mermaid thing. Because I'm fascinated. Now, I know some of you black folks out there think white folks love y'all. But they've been showing us now for a long time that they don't really care about black folks. And over the weekend with this Little Mermaid thing, they really showed you. Are you paying attention? And I'm going to give you 25 different times white people stole from black culture. But the funny thing about this Little Mermaid thing, we didn't steal this. It came from us. Back in a moment, you're listening to Black Focus Radio, our issues, our solutions, our voices on joynetradio.com. Mic up. There you go. And go ahead and hit a stop set. Now, okay.
Mitchell Funeral Home welcomes all
Okay, you need to
Arkansas
fade.
and Arkansas. In Clark County since 1966. At Mitchell Funeral
There you go.
Home, they understand that the funeral is a celebration of life and legacy.
All right, y'all swap spots. Good job. Did pretty good for your first time. Look at you getting up like, I'm bad. I'm bad. Good job. You have been paying attention, huh? All right, Clayton, you're on the clock, man. You're on the clock. All right, so what you need to do is you need to toggle back on the stops, on the quick sets. Quick sets. They're already open.
2611. Call, click, or come by. MitchellFuneralServices.com. Don't wait till we need it.
Quick sets are the hard. All right, now you need to go back to my window
2611. It's quality you can appreciate.
and leave that there for the time being. Now you need to go to the media finder and find the news for the B. It's already there. So drag it down into one of the carts. Just leave it there. We're not going to play that. So now you need to go back to the quick set. Now, when this spot stops, you need to do the disclaimer, the open, and then hit the news. Okay? Turn the volume up on the board for the spot. No, turn it up. It should, push. All right, and make sure you watch your feet and don't kick those.
Call 501-868-8850 or go to akicabove.com. Now, what am I wearing tonight? Thanks to A Kick Above, I look marvelous.
Hi, this is Alvin from Habibi's 4317 East Broadway in North Little Rock. We still have the green top at your very next stop. The same great service, but more on it. Give us a call, 501-663-1553 or 664-2992, or call our toll-free number, 1-877-HABIBI-1. Diapers, pull-ups, hospital beds, wheelchairs, Simply Fit, diabetic supplies, underpads, and more. Your durable medical supply center.
Now remember, when I do this, that means I'm gonna take a break. So that means you'll hit the bed at that time when I get ready to take a break. The bed is the Black Focus bed. It's on that same row as the disclaimer. It's on the same look. All right. I guess we could have did a top drop too. All right.
The views and
There
opinions
you go.
expressed today on Black Focus Radio are not the views and opinions of the station, its management, or its advertisers. Now, let's get ready to focus on our issues, our solutions, using our voices on Black Focus Radio.
Welcome to
Okay.
Focus, the show
Now you'll do the news.
on our issues, developing our
Yeah.
solutions, using our voices. Central Arkansas, surrounding areas, and the nation. Get ready. Black Focus starts right now. Phone lines open at 855-525-5683. So here's your host, David W. Coleman and Robert Webb.
Okay, go ahead and hit the fade button on that one and hit the news. There you go. And then when the news finishes, come back with the bed. Turn it up.
In today's headline, Trump's approval rating his highest point of presidency, but he still struggles and matched up against Democrats. Jacksonville police officer shoots and kills man during domestic disturbance incident. Billionaire Jeffrey Epstein has been indicted for running a sex trafficking ring with girls as young as 14 years old. A festival in Detroit was backlash for charging white people $20 and charging black people $10. That's today's Black Focus headline news. Now let's get focused with more Black Focus news.
Now when I start talking, you need to go ahead and start fading it down a little bit. You need to turn my mic on. Mic 2.
Mic 2?
Yes. Turn it up. All the way to that thick black line. There you go. All right, welcome back to the show. The bed. Fade the bed. Welcome back to the show. 855-525-5683 is the number. Mr. Clayton Williams is on the board this hour. Y'all give Miss Jemiah Ivy a hand. She did a great job the first hour. Tomorrow, I'll have her to run the whole show. And then Wednesday, Clayton will run the whole show. So that'll be great. And by the way, let me remind you all that Dr. Claude Anderson will be on the show this Wednesday. Of course, you all know we talk a lot about the importance of black economics. And Dr. Anderson, and we'll periodically have him on the show to talk about the importance of black economics. It is just so important. So, and we've had him on before. And of course, he is the author of the Black History Reader, 101 Things You Never Thought to Ask. So we'll be talking a lot about him as well, and talking to him coming up over the next couple of days. And one of the things, if I had 10 days to live, North Carolina says one of her bucket lists. Y'all know what a bucket list is. That's something that you want to do before you die. Where here's a North Carolina teacher who says one of the things, if she had 10 days to live, she would kill all black people. Let me say that again. A North Carolina teacher. Y'all still want prayer in schools? A North Carolina teacher said that if she had 10 days to live, she would kill all black people. Hello? Y'all paying attention yet? Let me say it again, just in case y'all didn't hear what I said. A North Carolina teacher said that if a bucket list that she would have is that if she had 10 days to live, she would kill all black people. This is a teacher. This is the same teacher that you all want to have prayer in schools with. What? Yeah, that's part of the show today. Y'all still want to have, y'all see, this is why I told you all, number one, prayer doesn't belong in schools based on the Constitution. But more importantly, you got to be careful of who you pray with, or who you allow to pray with you, or for you, or with your children. Let me give you another example. Diana Volatich, she was a Florida middle school teacher. You know what she did in her spare time? She ran a white supremacist podcast. Hello? See, so while you black folks are running around here with this ignorancy, talking about, if that's a word, I just made up a word. While y'all are running around here talking this craziness about, hey, we need prayer in schools. I tell y'all all the time, when they had prayer in schools, your people had water hoses turned on them. Your people had dogs sicked on them. Your people couldn't go and drink out of the same water fountain. Your people couldn't go eat at a white restaurant. Your people had loans that were being used to steal their land, but y'all want to go and let these white folks pray for you and your children in school? Number one, constitutionally, prayer does not belong in school. But number two, I sure as hell don't want Satan praying for me. Raise your hand if you want Satan praying for you. Go ahead. Raise your hand. Raise your hand if you want a white supremacist praying with you and for you, or a KKK member, or a Proud Boy, or a skinhead, or Donald Trump. No, prayer doesn't belong in school. And this is a classic example why it doesn't. By the way, they did use the Bible to justify slavery. Y'all do remember that, right? And by the way, Many of those southern white evangelicals, they're condoning what's going on at the border right now. And the irony is about that, if you read the Bible, I mean, the Sermon on the Mount was Jesus feeding people. His disciples said, Lord, we got to stop. There's too many people here. We can't feed them all. That's where the story of the fish and the barley loaves come into play. He blessed it, and he fed all those people. This is from the white folks' Bible. But they say be like Jesus, but they don't act like Jesus. Hello? Let me say that again. Well, what's that old saying? Do as I say, but not as I do. That's what white people are doing. This is what white Christians are doing. Do as Jesus say, but we're going to do what the hell we want. So we're going to enslave people for 400 years and not give them reparations. We're going to rape their children. We're going to rape their women. And we're going to pretend like that's okay. And then we're going to write a Bible that says slaves obey your master. And we're not going to teach them to read. We're not going to teach them to write. They're going to be totally subservient to us. Hello? And then when they get their freedom, we're still not going to really let them be free. We're going to organize terrorist organizations like the police department and the KKK, and we're going to round them up every chance we get. And oh yeah, unbeknownst to them, we're going to write into the Constitution that they can still go to jail even though they are free slaves. And then we're going to create laws that are vagrancy laws and loitering laws that we can arrest them on BS charges to put them back in slavery. These are your white Christian evangelicals, folks. Talk to me. Hello? And then not only that, we're gonna even hang them. We're gonna steal their land. We're gonna kill them. We're gonna blow up their business. Oh, by the way, we're not gonna give them any money when we free them. In fact, we're gonna take money that was designed for them, and we're gonna use it for ourselves. And then we're going to create laws where we're going to go through and we're going to rape and pillage their venues, like Tulsa, like Elaine, like Ocoee. The list goes on and on. And ain't nobody going to go to jail, but we Christians. Hello? But y'all want these people praying for y'all at school. Y'all are sick. Don't mean it in a bad way. Yeah, I do. Y'all need to wake up. The worst thing that could have happened to white people is the internet. Because now you ought to be able to go back and research for yourself. That's why I tell y'all, don't believe me what I say. Go and research it for yourself. I dare you. One other quick news, and we're going to get to this mermaid story because I'm just fascinated. Sex trafficking charges against Epstein could rock Trump's cabinet. So you know he and Donald Trump are buds, right? One of the young ladies who has accused him of sex trafficking said that she met him at Mar-a-Lago. But white Christians say he was chosen by God. You know, and here's the thing about it. You know, this thing that is happening at the border, I'm not surprised. It should not surprise black people that white people are locking kids in cages. It should not surprise black people that white people are taking those immigrants' children and selling them off to adoptive white parents. And those adoptive white parents are taking those children as if they are theirs. Should not surprise you because this country has a history of that. It should not surprise you that white men, powerful white men, use young girls for sexual exploitation. Underage young girls, minors. Hello? That means that young lady is 13, 14 years old. She is not even aware of the age of consent. Yet these rich white men apparently have been doing this for quite some time. As a matter of fact, y'all do understand that there was at one point, and it's still out there, a lawsuit against your president from a young girl whom this happened to. And it's been swept under the rug. Now, Jeffrey Epstein, who is Trump's buddy, has been implicated and arrested over the weekend for dozens of minor girls that he sexually abused and exploited. Notice I said minor girls. That he sexually exploited between 2002 and 2005. Now, according to reports, apparently there have been pictures of these young girls found at his apartment. This is Donald Trump's best bud. Hello? And also, one of the people in Donald Trump's cabinet, at the time when this story broke, was Alex Acosta. Alex Acosta is now the Secretary of Labor. At the time when this story broke, Alex Acosta was the U.S. attorney in Miami when these charges first came to light. It was Alex Acosta who gave Jeffrey Epstein a slap on the wrist. It is Alex Acosta who is now the Secretary of Labor in this president's cabinet. In February, a federal judge ruled that Acosta's office broke the law by failing to notify Epstein's victims of a plea deal. Epstein pleaded guilty to 2 prostitution charges in state court in exchange for receiving federal immunity for both himself and any potential co-conspirators. The potential co-conspirators were not identified in the agreement. Now, don't you want to know who potentially one of those co-conspirators may be? Now, check this out. This is the sentence that Mr. Epstein got from Alex Acosta, who is part of the Trump administration. Okay? The potential co-conspirators were not identified. The billionaire served only 13 months in a private wing of a Palm Beach County jail and was allowed to come and go from the facility for up to 12 hours a day, 6 days a week on work release. After his release, while on probation, he took numerous trips in his private jet. Now, how many young brothers out there who's in jail right now would love to be able to come out for 12 hours a day? Kick it like a fat rat, old school style with his homies, fly around the country. But this labor secretary, Alex Acosta, allowed Epstein to do this. And by the way, this guy is one of Donald Trump's buddies. Hello? Y'all tired of this yet, white Christians? Not yet. That's right, because Donald Trump's a man of God. Yeah. You keep thinking that, and I got a bridge in China to sell you. I ain't never been to China, but I know there's a couple of bridges over there. I'm going to sell you one. Okay? They won't mind. 855-525-5683 is the number. We need to take a break. When we come back, we're going to jump into this Little Mermaid story. Start the bed low and bring it up high. When we come back, we are going to jump into this Little Mermaid mess. Have y'all noticed yet what I do is a build up? So I've been building you up for this. We got to take a quick break. You're listening to Black Focus Radio. I'm Dynamic Dave. Today, right now, it's Clayton Williams on JoyNetRadio.com. You need to go to stop sets on the quick set. And play a stop set. Anything but one. Yeah. You need to fade the, not there, fade it on where it's playing. See, there you go.
Our experienced attorneys have brought hundreds of cases to verdict in state and federal court and recovered millions for our clients.
Hey Teresa, hey, I'm coming to Nashville this fall for the John Mayer Classic. We're planning it right now. I'll be in touch.
Do not hesitate to contact
Looking forward to seeing you guys.
for a free attorney consultation. Call 1-800-848-1290. That's 1-800-848-1290. Or email inquiries at arkansas-personal-injury.com. Our law offices are centrally located at 212 Center Street in Little Rock. That's the law offices of James F. Swindoll, personal injury and product liability attorney serving Arkansas since 1970.
Now, when you come, once it stops, you'll play my bed. One other thing I need to tell you. So when I'm going to a break, you bring it up. Don't bring it louder than my voice. Just play it low. And then when I stop talking, then you bring it all the way up. Okay?
So the entire staff takes great pride in the caring, personal, and professional services they provide. Cremations, funeral planning, burial policy, life insurance, notary, and monument sales are just a few of the services they offer. Flexible packages are available as well. Mitchell Funeral Home appreciates the trust and confidence placed in them and will continue to enhance their services so as to serve you better. Call now. Get connected. 870-246-2611. That's 870-246-2611. Call, click, or come by. MitchellFuneralServices.com. Don't wait till we're needed. Call us now. Let's walk through this together. 870-246-2611. It's quality you can appreciate and service you can depend on at Mitchell Funeral Home.
Hi, this is Alvin from Habibi's 4317 East Broadway in North Little Rock. We still have the green top at your very next stop. The same great service, but more on it. Give us a call, 501-663-1553 or 664-2992, or call our toll-free number, 1-877-HABIBI-1. Diapers, pull-ups, hospital beds, wheelchairs, Simply Fit, diabetic supplies, underpads, and more. Your durable medical supply center.
LeBron James is the greatest player we've seen this generation. You have to be careful when you start saying, and so he wouldn't just get his mic, or he wouldn't just get his match. Every generation you get that. You begin to sound like that old man that lives down the street, and every time you walk on his yard, or you even walk by his yard, he's on the porch, and he's got that little purple finger, he's like, get off my lawn! Get off my lawn! Join the weekly sports magazine every Saturday, 8 to 10 a.m. on JoyNetRadio.com. Get off my lawn!
Bed. Now, when I start talking, you need to slowly bring it down. Okay? All right, Mike? Good. You got to turn the mic on first. No, it's not. It's not up. The volume's not up. Push it all the way up. Don't wait. There you go. All right. Welcome back to the show. Clayton Williams is on the wheels of steel today. He's in the captain's chair. Jemiah has had her chance. They're doing a great job. Appreciate them. Learning a lot here. This is how talk radio is supposed to be. I'm supposed to have a producer with my computers, and all I do is sit over here and talk on the mic. So hopefully they learning something. If they're not, then I'm going to cuss both of them out. I'm just kidding, gosh. All right, so we got a lot of stuff to talk about this hour. A couple of other things here. Let me just make sure. And I'm going to probably talk about this story tomorrow. Y'all go out and read the story. I'm going to just read you the title to this real fast. Why I Dated a Guy Who Fetishized Me for Being a Black Woman. In other words, she dated a white guy who had a fetish for black women, a sexual fetish. He didn't care about her as a person. He just wanted to date her because she was a black woman. There's a lot of white boys out there doing that. They'll come to you and tell you how beautiful you are. Because, see, subconsciously, black women don't think they're pretty. Because all of the images that they see every day are about white women and white beauty. That's why I have a problem when black men say, I don't date nothing but white women. Man, you crazy. That's why I have a problem with black women who say, I don't date nothing but black or white men. You crazy, dude. I told y'all last week, most of the time, these white boys, the only reason they want to date a black woman is because of a sexual fantasy. I had a friend in college who told me that his dad said, hey, make sure you marry a white woman, but go have sex with many black women as you can. Because you're not a man until you've had sex with a black woman. Hello? I'm just being real with you. So here's a sister who didn't realize that an Albanian man who called her pretty and beautiful because he would always say hi beautiful and praise how she looked, he was only fetishizing her to make her feel good so that he could get in her panties. He didn't care about her, and most of them don't. It's kind of like the sister who I saw the post where she was making love to her white husband and he called her a nigger. Hello? Y'all better wake up. See, when you don't know who you are, you'll fall for anything. Look, I'm going to tell you like this. I have been all over this country. I've been out in the Caribbean. I've seen all kinds of women, but I ain't nothing like a black woman. I mean, just this weekend in Kansas City, I saw black as the night black women. I saw light as paper black women, and in between. And man, every one of them were beautiful. Black women are gorgeous, man. I want nothing but a black woman. Don't get mad at me, white women. I just love me a black woman. After all, she's a progenitor of all of us. And this is kind of ironic because this kind of falls into the story of this Little Mermaid thing. So over the weekend, if you all didn't hear, and by God, you should have, if you're not paying attention to this by now, where the hell are you? Halle Bailey, and to show you how stupid white people are, some of them thought it was Halle Berry. Now, I don't watch a lot of television, especially sitcoms, but apparently this young lady played on Blackish? Grownish. Okay, so that's a spinoff from Blackish. Okay, I got some young people in there. They can help me out with the pop culture right now. So, when I saw it popped up on my page that she had been chosen, because, Disney now is doing all of these live action cartoons. They're about to release The Lion King. And so they've already done The Jungle Book. They're doing a lot of live action cartoons now. In other words, with the CGI, they are able to make animals look like they are talking and do all this other stuff. So it came out of them. In fact, we were on the road to Kansas City when the story came out that Halle Bailey had been chosen to do Little Mermaid. Now, look, I don't watch pop culture. I don't watch TV that much, and especially some of these shows. I didn't know who she was. Had no idea. I'm going to be honest with you. Didn't know who she was. Then I read her bio, and I said, oh, she played. Oh, okay. I still didn't know who the hell she was. And so then, part of the being able to do that piece, you got to be able to sing. And apparently this young lady can blow. Have y'all heard her sing? That young lady. So I clicked on a piece where she was singing a cappella. This young lady can blow. If you've not, look, go out on YouTube and just look for Halle Bailey and just listen to her sing. So she's got to sing all that, all them songs. So part of the reason that they chose her was the fact that she has such a wonderful voice. She can blow. She's a bad girl. So soon after that, I started seeing posts on Facebook from white folks mad that they had chosen Halle Berry as the lead for Little Mermaid. And I'm saying, now, wait a minute, that's not the same person I saw. But anyway, so I went through the weekend. So throughout the weekend, I keep seeing these posts of white folks hating on this girl. And finally, it dawned on me that they are mad because Halle Bailey is black. The image of the Little Mermaid is white. And they are mad. They seem to believe that Disney is taking away their Little Mermaid. In fact, I saw a white woman say, she was like 24, and she says, my childhood has been destroyed because they're changing the Little Mermaid. Now, wait a minute. Your ass is 24 years old. Your childhood over with. How is your childhood destroyed? And then I went on News Channel 5's website. That's out of Nashville. Their Facebook feed. And their Facebook feed, they were, the white folks were trying to pretend that they weren't racist. Okay? And they said, well, it'll be okay if they don't change her hair. Wait a minute. That's code, right? Y'all know that's white code. They're hoping that the black Little Mermaid doesn't have black hair. Y'all get that, right? So what we've seen over the weekend with this reiteration of the Little Mermaid is white racism up front and personal. It is in your faces. Now, here's the problem that I have with that. Because, see, part of the reason black girls grow up with low self-esteem is because all the images that they see are of white girls. And every time we talk about beauty in this country, we're talking about how pretty a white girl is. Ooh, look at that blonde hair. Blonde hair and blue eyes. It kind of reminds me of the story we read last week about the Swedish not realizing that they evolved from black people who had blue eyes. So if you ever seen the psychological testing that they did for young people, young girls early on, black psychologists and psychiatrists, the black doll and white doll test? They would take young black children anywhere from ages 3 to 5, and they would present them with two dolls, one black and one white. And they would ask the question to the young people, and they'd say, which doll is the prettiest? Many of you all have y'all seen these tests?
We talk about it in school.
Okay. So what would the black kid always do?
The white dog.
They would say the white doll is the prettiest, right? Mm-hmm. And they would say that the black doll is the ugliest. Not understanding that black doll is a representation of themselves. And they subconsciously are saying that because I'm black, I'm ugly. no matter how pretty those children were. I know white people who say black babies are the prettiest babies. In fact, I knew a white girl who said, I want to have a black baby because those black babies are the prettiest. They have pretty babies. I love black babies. They are just so gorgeous. But in this test, black children ages 3 to 5 years old were thinking, because they had already been brainwashed to believe at an early age that because they were black, they were ugly, and that was being manifested in those children at an early age. Part of the reason that I would not let my children watch a lot of white shows when they were growing up. Part of the reason that when my daughter was young, my daughter did not buy white dolls. Well, she didn't buy them. I didn't buy them. I did not allow white dolls to come into my home. As a matter of fact, I will make a suggestion to you that if you have a young child, go out and buy, particularly a daughter, go out and buy that child the book Mufaro and His Beautiful Daughters. This is about a black prince, a black king who had 3 beautiful daughters, and they would always come to him and argue, I am the prettiest, I am the prettiest. And they would try to put him in a vice, trying to get him to say which daughter was the prettiest. He never would, because all 3 of them were beautiful to him. So I bought my daughter that book. Not only did I buy her that book, I bought her books, and I bought my son books similar, is Jomoko and the Beanstalk. Yeah. I bought my children books who had images of black people in those books who were doing positive things. Let me tell you the story about my daughter, and I've told this story before on this show. It was about 3 years ago. My daughter is 30 years old now. My daughter called me and she was in tears. She was in a bookstore in Chicago. And she says, Dad, and you could hear her, she was crying. Dad, you'll never know what I'm doing. I said, what are you doing? I said, sounds like you're crying. She says, well, I am. She says, well, where am I? I said, I don't know. She says, I'm in a bookstore. I said, okay, why are you in a bookstore? She says, because I was in this bookstore and guess what I stumbled upon? I said, what did you stumble upon? She said, you remember that book you used to read to me a lot? And then you would make me read? I said, well, I read a lot of books to you. She said, remember the book Mufaro's Beautiful Daughters? And I said, yeah. She said, I'm looking at that book right now. She said, I want to thank you, Dad, because by looking at that book and by reading that book to me, that gave me self-esteem. That made me know that I am beautiful. And look, my daughter's gorgeous. You all have seen some of those pictures I posted about my baby girl. She's gorgeous. But because I read her that book, it reinforced her beauty. And even today, she will not allow a man to tell her she ain't gorgeous. And by the way, she won't allow a man to treat her like crap either. Hello? So my point in telling you that is that it is important for us to have images of our own choosing, of our own making. Which brings me to The Little Mermaid. White women are upset that a black woman is going to play the Little Mermaid. But if you listen to the black fact, because isn't it ironic that everything that we have today that they have, unfortunately, was stolen from someone else? You know, Hans Christian Andersen, I believe, was I think he was the one that wrote The Little Mermaid. Okay? You know, Hans Christian Andersen was a prolific writer. He was a prolific children's story writer. Okay? And I believe that's who came up with that story. Let me just double click. Hans Christian Andersen. I thought it was. He was Danish. But now we know that Hans Christian Andersen stole that story from, guess where? Africa. Yeah, the motherland. Did y'all hear the black fact? I won't read the whole thing to you, but I'll go back and just recap. And you can find this story on my wall because it is important for us to debunk lies. So from this point on, and this is what I started doing over the weekend, every time I would see a story from a white person complaining about the Little Mermaid is going to be black, I don't argue with fools, folks. I just post the facts. Okay? I don't argue with fools. I just post the facts. You know what I did? I would just post that story about Mamie Wata. Okay? And if you didn't hear the earlier part of the show, in the Black Fact, Mamie Wata is actually an African goddess who was a mermaid. And actually, let me take that back. Mermaid is the word that the European culture came up with. The story is Mamie Wata. That's what she's called. Her story runs throughout the African culture thousands of years before white people even existed. So guess what? White people, Hans Christian Andersen, stole the story of Mamie Wata, changed the name to Mermaid from Africa. Don't believe me, just go do your research. Okay? Just go do your research. Go read the story. If you heard the first part, go back. Let me just read this paragraph to you. Because I know y'all don't believe me. Y'all don't believe me. See, if a white man was telling y'all this, y'all be believing him. But because a brother is telling y'all that, see, y'all know how black folks are. You know, they don't believe black folks until a white man says it's okay. Some of y'all. Mamie Wata traces back to the earliest of African societies as recorded by the griots and keepers of history. The Dogon's creation myth tells the story of Mamie Wata and traces records of its existence to more than 4,000 years ago. Mesopotamian, by the way, Mesopotamia today is modern day Iraq. Did y'all know that? Hello? Mesopotamia today is modern day Iraq. Y'all do know that the Middle East is in Africa, right? Okay. Mesopotamian myths also tell of the great water goddess in their story of creation known as Mamie Aruru to be the creator of life. The name is traced to the early languages of many modern African societies today. The first root of its name is considered to be, Ethiopian. Last I checked, ain't no white folks from Ethiopia from back then. And Egyptian Coptic societies. How is that possible? Man, you gotta be kidding me. Are you telling me that the word mermaid is actually derived from Mamie Wata, which came from Africa? Man, no, that can't be right. Something wrong with that. In the Ethiopian Coptic language, the word mama, by the way, what do you call your mama? Mama. Give me a hand. Yeah, will y'all give me a finger snap offering? I'm having too much fun with this. Okay? It was used as a description of truth and wisdom, and the term Uta meant ocean water. Now, you all have heard, look, I love the Greek mythologies. I love Homer and the Odyssey. By the way, y'all do know Ulysses never existed, right? But one of the Greek gods is Poseidon. What does Poseidon look like? He looks like a mama wata or a mermaid. He has a fish tail and a human head. Where'd they get that story from, y'all think? Y'all think they got it from Africa? Yeah, they did. In fact, the Greeks stole everything from Africa. They just changed it up. They just changed this up. Another definition of the name traces to early Sudanese society, where the word wata referred to a woman. W-A-T-A in early Sudanese society referred to a woman. Now let me blow you away with this. Y'all do realize that the Egyptian pyramids came from Sudan? Did y'all know that there are more pyramids in Sudan than there are in Egypt? Hello? Yeah, I know this is messing with your minds. But I need y'all to know this so that when all these white people, some of y'all got white friends and they mad because the mermaid gonna be black. All you got to do is tell them, well, that's where she always was. Y'all just stole it. Just like y'all stole everything else. I'm reminded of that Richard Pryor joke. And I'm gonna have to clean it up to say it. But back in the day, black men, and I must admit they did do it, would always walk around like they holding a Johnson, right? And Richard Pryor had a joke. He said when he meet white guys say, well, why are you guys always holding your things? And Richard Pryor comes back, well, you've taken everything else. I'm just checking to make sure it's still there. Now, I cleaned it up. He used some other vernacular. But if y'all know Richard Pryor, y'all know what he probably said. So Richard Pryor, and I always tell people that when you listen to Richard Pryor, although Richard Pryor used a lot of profanity, he used the N-word, but there was a method to his madness. He was dropping knowledge on you, and that little joke itself meant a lot about what history and culture was all about. And here we are today. Hans Christian Andersen, I think he wrote in the 15th century, 16th century, somewhere in there. He stole the story of a Mami Wata, changed the name to a mermaid, and wrote stories and has been lauded as this great writer for decades. And come to find out that here is an image that was always black in the first place, that was stolen by white culture, and now they mad because we about to take it back. But let me continue. Y'all remember Yul Brynner in the Ten Commandments? Y'all remember that? I'm about to give you quite a few different people whose images were stolen by white people and they were black. This is going to blow you away. Because here we have white people upset because we're actually taking back an image that was originally ours. Now, I know many of you all didn't know it. But here we are now taking, and by the way, there are pictures that I posted. If you've seen the film Hidden Colors, there are pictures that I posted of statues made in Africa of Mami Wata. So this is not something that someone just came up with. This has been around long before Hans Christian Andersen decided to borrow that story. Remember 9/11? Did y'all know that the first person that ran into the building on 9/11 was a black man? Did y'all see the movie 9/11? In the movie 9/11, by the way, that black man, let me give him life. And the only way I can give him life, because he's dead now, his name is Jason Thomas. He was a black man. But in the movie, they made him a white boy. Hello? But y'all mad about a Little Mermaid? When in fact the Little Mermaid was black in the first place. What about, did y'all see the movie A Mighty Heart? It was based on a real life ordeal of a journalist, Marlene Pearl. After her husband, y'all remember Daniel Pearl, who was kidnapped and murdered by Pakistani militants? Marlene Pearl was born in France, but she is of African-Cuban descent. Do y'all know who played her in the movie? Angelina Jolie. Y'all remember Argo? I saw that movie. Good movie. All right? The top level CIA operative in that movie his name was Jay Mendez. He helped orchestrate the rescue of 6 hostages. He was born in Nevada and is of Mexican-American descent. You know who played him in the movie? Ben Affleck. What about Joseph Fiennes playing Michael Jackson? Hello? Y'all remember that? I mean, this goes on and on. But what about the main cast of The Last Airbender? I like that movie. It was a Nickelodeon cartoon. It was Native and Asians who were the main characters. Yet, guess what? You know who played? They were played by white folks. You know who Othello was? Othello was black. He was a Christian Moor. M-O-O-R. You know who the Moors are, right? You know who the Moors are, right? Do you? I'm just trying to drop y'all some knowledge here today. Moors were the ones who expelled Romans from parts of Africa. Okay? Y'all know the name Hannibal the Great? Hannibal was a Moor. He was a black man. Laurence Olivier played Othello in the Shakespearean play. Even though in the Shakespearean play, Shakespeare talks about him being a Moor.
I saw Lawrence Fishburne was Othello in the movie too.
Yep. Maria in the West Side Story, you know who played her? Natalie Wood. She was a white woman. I mean, I can go on and on. Johnny Depp played Tonto in the latest rendition of The Lone Ranger. Oh, by the way, y'all remember The Lone Ranger, white? The Lone Ranger was a white guy. You know who he was in real life? His name was Bass Reeves. He was a black sheriff. I continue. Elizabeth Taylor playing Cleopatra. Give me a break. A white woman. We know Cleopatra was black. I mean, come on, folks. Oh, I didn't know John Wayne played Genghis Khan, and John Wayne was a racist. Russell Crowe played Noah. How can Russell Crowe be Noah when we know that the people in the Bible were black? Especially in the early Old Testament. Christian Bale played Moses. How could that be possible? Jake Gyllenhaal played the Prince of Persia. I'm just going through a couple of these for y'all. It's pathetic. Yul Brynner played the king of Siam, and he also played Pharaoh. It was Charleston Heston who played Moses in the Ten Commandments. Let my people go. Part of the reason I can't watch the Ten Commandments today. I'm just saying. This goes on and on and on. So the point in me talking about this is the fact that white people have stolen culture, stolen our roles for decades, for centuries. Now, I wouldn't be upset if, in fact, we had actually stolen Little Mermaid, but now we know that the mermaid, or Mami Watas, that's what they're called. Mermaid is a white name for them. Now we know that Mami Watas are from Africa. Ain't that something? Come to find out that Little Mermaid did not come from white folks. It came from black folks. Isn't history wonderful? Isn't African history wonderful? Now, y'all say that name with me so y'all will know. So when this debate rages on and you run across your white friends and they mad because Halle Bailey is playing a black girl, is playing the real life Little Mermaid, just remind them that, hey, mermaid came from Mami Wata. Mami Wata came from Ethiopia and African cultures. And then if they still don't believe you, please go out and post that article that I just read to you. Please go out and post those artifacts of those African statues in the form of Mami Watas, not mermaids. See, the name mermaid is a white rendition. I call them Mami Watas. Now, the reason I call them Mami Watas is because, see, I was ignorant about this just as you were until I did the research. So, see, I will no longer use the word mermaid. I will use Mami Wata because that's what they're called. And they came from black people. Okay? Okay. Give me some music over there, Clayton. Pay attention. I hope y'all had a good day today. I did. This was a fun day today. And that information about Mami Wata, you can go out and find that article on my wall. Turn it up. Is it playing? Hit the bed. All right. So y'all can go out and find that article. Hans Christian Andersen, he may have renamed Mami Wata, but he didn't create Mami Wata. That's going to do it for today. I appreciate my interns kicking back like a fat rat, old school style on the wheels of steel, doing their thing. They did a good job today. Pretty soon I won't have to give them instructions live. I'll just expect them to do it. And they're doing a great job. Thanks, Clayton. Thanks, Jemiah. Y'all did a fantastic job today. We got to go. Coming up in a few minutes, we've got Poetic Love. And you know what? It's poetry in motion because I love my black folks and I love my black history. Y'all have a wonderful day. Remember, the ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but in times of challenge. Y'all have a great day. All right, so what you need to do now, go ahead and hit the close, the Black Focus close.
You've been listening to Black
Okay,
Focus.
fade the other one.
Our issues.
Okay, good.
Our solutions.
Now you need to go back to the stop sets.
Join us every weekday afternoon at 1 p.m. on JournetRadio.com.
All right, let's swap out.
I sent two I sent two emails, but ignore the first one I sent.
When did you send them?
Last one, it's just a few minutes ago.
Oh, okay, because I want to say I didn't see one.
So the last one I sent, I put it in a message to ignore the first one,
Okay,
but the last one I sent,
all right.
it's up to 4 minutes and it's longer than that, but we're only gonna play 4 minutes and no, 5 minutes. It said it's 5 minutes. But it was
Now, which one of y'all gonna start off? Because
Hello. This is Shimona Michelle, your girl with Poetic Love.
see how I slowly faded.
I'm Malik Safir, your co-host.
Yes, and we are here in the studio, and oh my God, we can already feel the love taking place here in the studio, and we just want to share some of our love with you today. Today we want to focus, as last time we came to you, we were talking about the family, and the family is so important to Malik and I. I know the crazy thing is that I think we both have similar backgrounds that we're coming from broken homes, broken families, and now we see in our community that thing continues. Brokenness continue in families, and so the question is, how do we stop it with a poetic love from God? In today's show, we want to share a clip with you that it's labeled "Every Parent and Child Has to